Adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming. It's a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives.
My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Which means that they survived. They survived the midnight launch. They came out the other side.
Yes, I still have them. They're still here. They did survive.
That is amazing. So to catch up everybody from the last episode, Jeff was slightly on the fence. Not really.
You pushed me over the fence. Let's be honest.
It was a good talking to, and I have no regrets. Jeff was on the fence about bringing his kids to their first midnight launch for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
There was photos the entire time. It looked amazing. Like, bring the fellow gaming dads through this. How did the first father-kids midnight launch go?
It went really well. So, like, overall, really well. There are some
Excellent.
things in there that happened, like in any adventure.
There were some incidents.
That's right. So, they didn't even know they were going until they got home from school and then ate supper, and I just sprung it on them. Like, hey,
wow.
Let's see if we can do... I asked them before, do you have anything at school tomorrow that you need?
Listen, how important is school tomorrow?
Right, because it's like a Friday. You're like, really? And like you could see their ears kind of perk up, like, oh, I can get to school, right? But being Nintendo and being Zelda, they decided to launch on Mother's Day weekend. So the kids had a lot of in-class Mother's Day stuff that they had to get. So they're going to school Friday, and that kind of put the question in my mind, like, oh, is this still a go? Like,
that they would be so tired. Oh my
yeah. God. So I said, I laid it out. I said, would you like to go to this midnight launch? I've never been. Let's go as, this group of gaming dads with his kids and just do it up. And they're all excited. They're like, yes, absolutely. I'm like, just ground rules though. We are going to school tomorrow, right? You need to get your Mother's Day stuff. Like, that's not fair to mom if you like skip out on that. You need to do that. And we're not playing the game. Like,
whoa.
Do you know what I mean? Like, by the time we get home, it's going to be way too late and we're not going to play. Okay. They were all for it. They're like, no, I want to go and like, can we watch something in the car and hang out? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. This is what this is all about. Mm-hmm. So they were more pumped about the trip, which is perfect, right? Like, awesome. So we all got dressed up. Like, I had like a Zelda hat that they gave me from years ago that I had never worn out.
That's like that I've never dared wear in public before.
Yeah, but now is the time. So we got all dressed up. We went down, and I have never been to a midnight launch. So I don't know if you have, right? No. Yeah, so this is new.
Which is like, I'll say that's a bit surprising. So the impetus, even last week, we didn't really particularly cover it, but like I would have assumed you had been to one before. So this was the come with me, children, as we go to these events that I know well. But instead, it's like, let's go all together, just explore this uncharted jungle. Yeah. What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that can happen? Famous last words. Yeah. So I have never been. You have never been. It was like one of these things, like, I'm not sure how it works. So I talked to the store manager there. You're supposed to show up at like 10, so 2 hours before. You get your ticket. Then they're like, that hold your place in line. Go get a coffee. Do whatever you want. Come back. We can't sell the game until 12 o'clock. So I'm like, cool. Okay. That sounds good, right? At least I know my place in line. I don't have to like wait out in the wilderness. Yeah. It was a nice day, but I don't want to be waiting on a sidewalk. So show up at 10. I think we're like number 28. I think that's what we were. So 28 didn't seem too bad. Perfect. We go back in the car. The kids don't want to go anywhere. We brought some junk food. We brought an iPad. We watched a whole bunch of, I think they want to watch Demon Slayer anime stuff. And we were just having a blast doing this. We folded down the seats in the Subaru. So they had like full length, like beds.
Yeah.
So like everything was going. Everything was awesome. They saw people roll up. It got busy. I wasn't expecting it to be busy, but there was a lot of people there. I was hoping, like, Gaming Dad tip to anyone that's going to a midnight launch: scout out the location, especially the local McDonald's that closes at 11, and you think it's 24 hours, and it's not.
For the 11:30 top up. No.
Yeah, so we were down liquid. We had found a bottle of water in the car, and that's all we were living off of. But it was something that, like, I didn't account for that. And then it was bathrooms. I'm like, oh my God, I hope they don't have to go anywhere. So everyone was cool with that. Our midnight's coming up, so we finally go out to the lineup, and they help you to where your sequence is. And like, yes, okay, it's happening. Everyone's in good spirits. They're not overtired. That was my one worry. Like, they're gonna be overtired, a nightmare. Right. So the doors open like 12:05. I think they were a little bit late. And honest to God, it was a glacial pace to get in. Like, I couldn't understand what was taking so long, but it was like 2 people at a time. They don't let everybody in the store. So it's just 2 people at a time for the 2 registers. And I thought that, like, people had prepaid and done all the credit card stuff.
It's like step, cartridge,
beep,
credit card.
Yeah.
Thank you. Step, like, what?
No, it's
how the heck did it
upselling.
take so long?
It's upselling on, do you want the amiibo? Do you want their cartridge protection?
Right.
And all that stuff, like, you can. That's great. That's fine. But then, like, if you've already prepaid, you have to run it through again, right? And I think GameStop's system is just, like, running on, like, hamsters and cheese, because the amount of people that probably, like, are processing through their system, it just wasn't having it. So 28th in line, we got in there 45 minutes later. So it's 12:55 when we get out.
Wow.
And when we got in, my 12-year-old wanted to look at Pokemon.
Of course.
I'm like, the store's not open. Just stop.
We're part of the problem now.
Yes,
don't you see?
Exactly. There's other people. There's probably like 120 people. I felt so bad for, like...
Oh my God. So like number 120
Yeah.
probably didn't get out till like 3 a.m.
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, like, I'm like, I guess this is part of the experience, because otherwise I would have bought digitally and just opened it up at 12:01. So we got home at 1. The kids were, like, on edge at that time. Like, they were at each other a little bit. So it was good that it kind of ended there. But all around good event. It was just, it was a lot of work, and just keeping everything calm, and just realizing that the lineup to get in, it does take a lot longer, even if you've prepaid. I almost think that they should make 2 lines, one for, like, pre-orders and one buying it at the time. But maybe that's just part of this thing. Like, hey, it's part of the whole launch and Zelda, right? Am I right?
Yeah. So the kids obviously the next day, kind of a write-off. It's like, it's gonna be super tired. Overall, like, I guess what I want to know from them, has it come up in conversation yet? Like, Dad, that was amazing. That was so cool. I hope we can do it again. Do they have, like, a review of the session? Or is it not really? Has it kind of just slipped into the ether and now they're just focused on playing?
The comment I got immediately after, like, the next day was like, I wish they would do more midnight launches for other games. I'm like, well, they do.
They do for every single one.
They do. It's just we don't go because I don't know what happens. So they've asked for more midnight launches. We'll see. It would have to be a pretty big game, I think. I'm not doing it for, like, the next Pokemon game. It would have to be maybe the next Mario or something. I could see maybe doing it again. They did tell all their friends, but now I don't hear anything about it. So it's, like, out of their brain, I think, until the next time they're reminded.
It wasn't like they woke up the next day and it was like... It was just some other, trip to the mall. Like, it was an exciting event. And I have to say, like, it's got to be a core memory. It sounds like the excitement of it itself, like the huddling together in the car and watching, getting some junk food. Like, oh my goodness, we're up so late. I'd have to think that's going to be just core memory for those kids.
I'd hope so. Like, core memory trauma, whatever. Like there's something in there. But no, it was a great time. We did play it like we actually played the game 10 minutes before school started. So they got a little bit of a taste in there, and then they went and told all their friends. So I think they were the cool kids that day. I'm just saying.
Hey,
like,
nice. There you
right?
go. You got you brought them up the social ladder a little bit the next day. That's nice. Gaming
and
dad
myself, right? Hey, your dad's pretty cool. Like
Gaming dad victory of the week.
that's right. Yes.
Now, I did want to ask, was there a download when you first put the game in? Or did it just work?
There was a small patch. It was not big, and I was worried when it just like inserted in. And it's like, hey, updating or
8
like
gigs.
no. So it was okay. It was a slight one, and we were off playing in no time, so it was good. So yeah, that was another worry though. Like, oh hey, you're gonna download everything again. So
Hey, kudos to you, new gaming dad. That is fantastic. So hey, other gaming dads out there, did you go to a midnight launch? Have you taken your kids to a midnight launch? Do you want to take your kids to a midnight launch? Having heard this regaling of the story. We'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us on our Twitter at NewDadGaming or newdadgaming.com. So just quickly, like to swing over to the game itself. So I'm sure many gaming dads have been looking at it with, desire and eyes that want for what seems to be the hottest game that's out there right now.
Yeah.
Long time coming. What's the actual experience? So like, how have you and your kids been enjoying this one?
this has honestly one of the best games I've played, and I don't say that lightly.
No hyperbole.
Yeah, it's just it is. I don't know how they do it. It's just like playing happiness. That is my kind of line. Because let's be honest, like we're looking at video of it, right? We're looking at video of it. It doesn't look good. They didn't improve much of the visuals. Like the visuals in Zelda Breath of the Wild are basically this with a cloud system. When the clouds look awesome and the night-day cycle is well done, but like graphically, it's not the greatest. But what you can do in it, and I was experimenting with my kids on them playing and what they could do in the game. When you get all your powers, you get them quite quickly because the game wants you to play it.
Sorry, hold on. Do they just remove everything again?
Oh yeah, and it's not a spoiler. I think you see it in the trailers.
I
It
get that it's the formula.
Yeah,
But come on, man. It's just like it's literally like the next day.
yeah.
And the dude just had all his powers. Like, just let him have it. Like, get into the good stuff.
It is explained in a way that makes sense. I'll give it that. And you don't get your old powers back. You get all these new ones from the whatever hand you get. And they give you all these new powers like pretty quickly. It's in the tutorial like island. You start in the sky and you get all these powers and you start doing things. So like one of the powers is fusing. So you can fuse anything to your weapon. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean anything to your weapon or shield. And I'm thinking like, oh, hey, I'll fuse this rock to it and make a big bat with a rock on the end. No, I give it to my kids and they fused a minecart onto a sword and then onto a shield.
The ultimate Minecraft.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, like anything. And then they're making flame whips. I'm like, how did you even get a flame throwing thing? But they're going through the game and just everything that's highlighted, they're trying and just having a blast with it. I don't think we've made much progress in the game itself. We're just experimenting. It's like this one big sandbox, and you're having fun. And the game saves like every few minutes. So like any progress or screw ups with some of those powers that you use that backfire, you're really out no time. So you just restart and you're pretty much good. So it's one of those games that you just play for fun. It's hard to say that because a lot of the times there's something there, like you want to finish the story or whatever. This is just a world where it pulls you in and you just play. It's just a playground.
So it seems, it's you're really describing like a joy machine.
Yeah.
The thing that I've seen often stated, and I imagine you would agree with it, is that it's really rewarding creativity.
Yes.
In that what would happen if I took this raft and I added 6 balloons and this random guy and these other 4 pieces of fire, and then these ridiculous wild things kind of just happen. So it's not punishing you for trying something. It's like, oh, that's dumb, that doesn't work. And instead, like, well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, as your crazy invention goes flying across the world.
Yeah. No, this game, it totally wants you to break it in a way that you're supposed to, right? And it's not glitchy, which is weird. Like, there's so many systems at play, and like there was one particular part where there's a big chasm and you can get across like by putting this minecart and a hook and going down the rope that's there. But we just created one huge long bridge out of pieces and flung it across, and that worked. Like, it's great.
It's not angry at you, like, oh, how dare you surpass our challenges. Like, hey, good one.
No,
it did it.
Doesn't kick you out, doesn't do anything crazy. It's like, you're not supposed to be here, nothing like that. So it's one of those games you give to a kid and just say, hey, go have fun. Go, child. Go have fun.
Be creative.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. That is so much fun. That makes it so kid friendly. Besides the weapons breaking, which is still nonsense.
Oh, it is nonsense. It's actually worse. I know. I was gonna say something. It's worse.
But let's finish with the positive.
Yeah.
And that, like, you think about your kid and you're just like, you grant them this game and it's like, hey, can I do this? You absolutely can. Yeah. Can I try that? Give it a shot. Like that, encouraging around experimentation, much like Minecraft, for instance. Like, it's so fantastic to hear. And then the addition, I suppose the benefit, you mentioned the polish and the fact that it's not buggy or janky. That is the Nintendo polish.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Nintendo does not release janky, broken stuff. And, obviously they got some heat for how long this was taking, but clearly this is why, because like there were so many things going on for them to achieve this level of joy and fun and multiple systems and crazy combinations that you can do anything. The testing must have been just a nightmare.
Oh, I can't even imagine what quality assurance would go through this and just like figure out what crazy stuff you can do. Because anything that you die from, it's just like, the reaction is like, yeah, that's on me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's never the game's fault. It's just you. You're like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, right? So
that was a bad idea.
Yeah. So I can't imagine. They spent their time making sure this stuff worked and that, yeah, you could have fun with it. So I totally appreciate it. And it's worth that $100 price tag. So it's
Is it straight up $100?
Well, it's $100 with tax. It's the new $89.99.
Oh, that's
ones.
so expensive.
So
that hurts.
It's a lot. If you didn't like Breath of the Wild, I think you'll like this one. I don't say that lightly either. Like, it just seems a little bit more fast paced, a little bit more freeing, a little bit more Minecrafty.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
I'll take that sort of advice. But that's actually a nice segue, because if you're going to be dropping $90, $100 on a game, it would be nice to know what the heck you're getting. And,
right.
And this will, again, this segue will segue into a different story that we'll get to in a moment. But I came across it just recently in trying out the recent Diablo 4 server slam. I think I called it server punch or something. You're like, I think it was called a slam.
Slam those servers.
And I had participated in an initial Street Fighter 6 demo, and there's a new one actually launching this week, which is more like full-throated. But before I kind of get into that experience, because that's a whole thing, those two games jostling for position. But what struck me is how fantastic it was to have these demos. This is something that you've harped on a lot on previous episodes, but it almost feels like its time has come to reemerge.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, fine. You guys have decided now that games are going to cost $100. We're going to have to charge. I'm going to have to get my kid to sell like 4 weeks worth of lemonade to afford this game. And if that's the case, I need to know that it's good and that I actually like it, because we can't afford duds anymore.
Right.
Right? And not as if like a $40 dud doesn't hurt as much, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so I brought it up. So Diablo 4, Server Slam, they had a previous demo. This Server Slam, and just anybody could play it. And it was awesome. It was excellent. Like, I was really playing it. It was one of those things where it's like, oh no, I want to keep going. I wish I could keep playing this game.
They got me. Yeah.
And you're like, nuts, I like this. And then Street Fighter 6 again. I digress. I will talk about this too in a bit. Street Fighter 6 I was enjoying. But you had mentioned, I think Steam just recently came out with something for demos as well.
Yeah, they're looking at demos again, just almost like a game trial thing that I think PlayStation and even Xbox with Game Pass acts like, right? But Steam is starting with the new Dead Space, giving a game trial. And sometimes I think it's with Steam, like you can get a refund if you play, I think, under 2 hours. You can ask for a refund. And maybe this is like a mitigation, like, hey, we have a lot of people asking for refunds, like put out a demo. But I'm glad to see more demos because, like you said, like it's hard to make that purchase when you don't know what you're getting into. Knowing that some of the patterns we see now is like half launching a game, and there's like major issues with it, and you won't know until either you wait for reviews or you're trying to figure it out on launch day yourself. So demos are great. I love demos. Demos are back in our day. Bring them back. Like everything had a demo.
Give me the magazine with a demo disc inside with like 6 games I can play for 4 months. Let's do this.
The little carousel with like shareware on the floppy disks. I remember those things. Like, that's crazy.
But I think gaming dads would all agree. It is fantastic. It's something times come. You're going to be charging more. I need to know that these products are good. And that is not something that the game industry has done a great job of representing lately. So it's fantastic. So let me get into the meat of the two that I was kind of referencing. So played the Server Slam for Diablo 4, was absolutely fantastic. Anybody who else participated. Also, I was surprised. I didn't get to try the first night. Perhaps it was busier. But the other night, maybe everybody was playing Zelda, for all I know. Got in without issue. Created this huge druid fella, was like just playing through it. The story was actually really gripping. The gameplay was like meaty and fun, like, and just clicking through on it. But everything about it was just seamless. It's like, hey, this weekend, you want to play this game for free? Like, get a taste? Download it here. Download, installed, signed in, played. Awesome. And now I got a taste for it. So I can look at it and think, this would be great. This would be a lot of fun to have. Now, so the other one that's got on my radar is long time coming Street Fighter 6.
Oh, okay.
So long-time listeners may remember my dabbling in the world of Street Fighter 5.
Is it a dabble? I don't know.
It was. I had committed some time. I bought an ebook about how to learn combinations. Like I had decided, like I really want to try to see how good I can get at this.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with it. I could not put in the practice time that's required to get very good at this game. But it always still, despite that, it always kept like a real good place in my heart. Like I kind of kept in touch with the community. I saw the updates, and then 6 starts to come out. This thing's looking amazing. It looks like they made some really great changes. It looks like they've learned from their past launch mistake. My kids were actually playing it with me too a little bit.
Oh, fun! That's fun.
They were having a blast, and the reason for that, and one that actually gives me a bit more hope that I might be able to get a bit deeper than I was previously, is they're introducing, and I think this will be really kid-friendly, honestly, kid and family-friendly. They're introducing what they're calling modern controls.
Okay.
So we've all played Street Fighter. We know how to do like a Hadouken. Thank you. Jeez, I was going to say Shoryuken. I was like, that's not it. So you have to do the corner or the back, like up or like down left, and you have to quickly like land these things. Yeah. Combos even harder because it's like timing in different like parts of it. It rewarding, great because you get to practice it, but certainly limiting in its immediate appeal because people will just be button mashing. It's not going to work. In modern, so that still exists. They still have that control scheme. You can choose it, but they introduced this brand new one called modern control scheme, which one of the buttons is all the specials. So to throw the fireball, to like jump up in the air, to do any other type of thing, it's just you press this button and a direction.
Okay.
And you'll do it. So direction, like this button and forward, throw the fireball. This direction and back, do the spinning kick. This like and down, do something else, right? Yeah. XYZ. So all of a sudden, you pick up any character in this game at any point. You don't need to know anything. You just know that this is the special, this is the direction, and then it kind of comes to you. Even wilder is that for some of the what you would call kind of like basic combos, there is a button for that. You press the combo button, and then you press one of the buttons, and they'll go into one of the basic combos. So what they give you as a starter is like this whole buffet of basic kind of cool looking moves that you can use with these characters.
Okay.
It's awesome. Like it's so approachable that way.
Yeah, I think that's a great option to have. Again, like you were saying, your kids could participate, and they might not know all those moves right off the start. They'll probably eventually learn them, no problem. But again, just an accessibility option, right? Like even people that have disabilities and can't hit those buttons, this allows you to, like, again, like you said, you can turn it on or off, and it just allows you to discover the flow of the character and see if you want to dump hours and hours and hours into practicing with them so that you can go to esports.
Yeah. I think you created a character, didn't you?
Oh, I did. It was ugly. It was the ugliest thing.
It is the most detailed character creation tool I've ever seen. Like it is ludicrous what like the monsters people have come up with, because you can control everything. So there's an overworld, like a literal world where you can walk around and just fight a whole bunch of dudes.
Street fights.
Level up your character. It's an entire thing. It's a whole lot of fun, actually. It's kind of cool what they've introduced. There'll be an interesting kind of side mission. But for that, you can just create some of the most atrocious characters you've ever seen. Can you imagine giving this to your kids?
You should give it to your kids and see what characters they come up with and screenshot them. I'm so interested.
Make my character. I will go and face the world with whatever character you come up with.
Yes.
But it was two angles for it. So it would be. I'm really excited for the game itself. Looks fantastic and gorgeous. It'll be great. The new control scheme is really appealing. In that, like, oh, this looks really great. I think the time, what it takes to get in and have a couple matches, I think is a bit more in line with my current family dynamic at the moment. Like things are going crazy. There's so much stuff on the go, so many events and house projects, work, everything else. So I think like 20-minute Street Fighter matches makes a bit more sense than 4-hour Diablo sessions, which can't happen at the moment.
Yeah, that can come later. You can do your Street Fighter 6 tournament and come back to the demons.
But what is great? So there I am. So I'm struggling between two what ultimately will be $80 games.
Yeah.
Or $90. God help me. But so demo for Diablo went great. Loved it. The demo for Street Fighter 6 coming up this week. Gonna give that a real honest try, and we'll see where I land. I'll keep you folks posted. Now now gaming dads out there have a opinion of whether one way or the other. If you want to try to sway me towards Diablo 4 or Street Fighter 6, write me a message or any other demo you'd like to see, or if you're kind of excited about it, reach out to us again from our website, newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. And on that note, we'll wrap it up there for the week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, you can find the podcast on all of your major podcasting networks. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. If you do, what would really help out the show is you can go ahead and subscribe. That'll help out the numbers, and especially if you could leave a rating or a comment, really boosts the signal, gets us out there to all the gaming dads. So everybody, thank you so much for listening once again. This has been New Dad Gaming, and until next week, my name's Trevor, and I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm Jeff, caught in the Legend of Zelda at midnight.
Still recovering from a midnight launch.
Still recovering with a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old.